Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my YouTube channel ERD Stitches. Thank you for subscribing to my channel. For those of us that have subscribed, I really appreciate you guys. Those that are yet to subscribe, please subscribe to support my channel. So today we are back again to do a tutorial, and the tutorial we are going to do today is on how to draft the basic of a corset and also the sewing. So we're going to do it in two parts. We'll first learn how to draft the basic. Then after the drafting, we will now go into the sewing. So I want you to pay attention very well. If you listen very well and follow the way I did it, you will know that making a corset is very easy. So let's go to the cutting table. Okay, now we are going to start with the drafting of our basic body. So this is the startup line. So the shoulder measurement I'm working with is shoulder of 17 inches, and when I divide it into two, it gave me 8.5. So at this 8.5, I have to come down by 1 inch for the slope. So it's from this 1 inch now we take my armhole measurement. So the armhole measurement I'm working with is armhole of 8.5. But before I take this armhole, I have to also measure, get my 8.5 here to make sure that my line will be straight. So now I'm taking my armhole measurement of 8.5 here. So now I'm going to connect it together. 8.5 inches. So the next thing that I'm going to do now that I've gotten my armhole measurement is to take the width of my neckline. I'm taking 4 inches as the width of my neckline. So it's from this 4 inches point now that I will now connect my slope, my shoulder slope from. So it will go this way. So now that we have gotten this, the next thing that we are going to do, as you can see, I've ruled some lines here, and which I'm going to explain to you now. So from this my shoulder, I got my bust point at 11 inches, my under bust at 15 inches, and my waistline at 18 inches. I've also gone ahead to get my bust span measurement of 4.5 inches. My bust span is 9 inches. When I divide it by 2, I got 4.5 inches. So now that I've gotten this, now I'm going to input my body measurements. I'm starting from the bust line. So the bust circumference I'm working with is a bust of 42 inches. When I divide it by 4, a quarter of it is 10.5 inches. So the under bust measurement I'm working with is a under bust of 37 inches. So a quarter of that, my under bust of 37 inches is 9.25 inches. So I'm putting it here. Then the waist measurement I'm working with is waist 39 inches. So when I divide it, it gave me 9.75 inches. 3/4 inches. So this is the point. So when I'm going to use dotted line to connect these lines together so that we will see what it will give us. This is the shape. This is the shape it gave us. So for me to determine the amount of my dart intake here, I'm going to connect my underbust. The same measurement I have in the underbust on my bust measurement is what I'm going to input on my waist measurement, and I'll connect it together. Okay, I've connected it together, so I have to measure what I have here. So when I measure what I have here, I have 3/4 of an inch. So this 3/4 of an inch that I have here, I'm going to share it at this my waistline. That is the amount of that intake I'm taking at my waistline. Okay, this is my dart leg now. So I'm going at this my underbust point. I'm going to come down by 1/2 an inch. So I'll connect this my dart to the 1/2 an inch point. So this is what I have now. So at this if you look at this my underbust measure, this is where my measurement stops, and I have all this here. So I have to eliminate what I have here. And how do I eliminate it? Is by contouring this my underbust. So we have to measure what we have here. So when I measure what I have at this my underbust now, as that intake is 1/2 an inch here. So and here now I have about 1 inch and 1¼ inches here. So I have to, by the time I remove this one I've taken already, the 1/2 inch I've taken already, I have 3/4 inch. So that 3/4 inch, I'm going to also remove it at this underbust here. That's to contour, so that by the time I sew this my dart, this allowance here will fit in to my clothes, because I'm not going to trim here off. Everything is going together this way, so I have to eliminate this excess here through that intake here. So that 3/4 of an inch, I'm taking it on both sides of the dart that I've already taken here. So I'll come here, I'll take 3/4 of an the 3/4 of an inch. I've shared it into 2, so I'll take 1/2 here, 1/2 of it here. Then on this side, I'll also take 1/2 of it here. So now I'm going to start from this point also to give it a curve with my curve ruler. So this is what I'm doing now. I'll do it this way. Then I turn my ruler as this. If you don't have ruler, you can use if you don't have this curve ruler, you can as well achieve it with your free hand. So this is what I've done now. Now I have to also connect it to my dart leg with my straight ruler this way. This is it now. By the time we sew this dart now, this excess here will be eliminated. So now that we have done this, now the next thing that we are going to do now is to now curve our armhole. So we have to get the middle of this our armhole, which is 8½. So by the time we divide it by 2, it will give us 4¼ So in this 4¼ now, I will step down by 1 inch to get my across front. I will step down by 1 inch to get my across. So in this my 1 inch that I step down with now, I will go in by 1 inch. To determine your across front is your total shoulder measurement minus 2. My total shoulder measurement is 17 inches. If I minus 2 from it, it will give me 15 inches. So 15 inches divided by 2 is 7½, and I have shoulder of 8½. If I minus 1, it will give me 7½. So I'm taking 1 inch here. So I'll connect this to this point and also this to this point. So I'm going to curve it from this point this way. This is it. So now that I've gotten this, now the next thing I'm going to do now is to start to input our bust dart. So this is my half length. The half length I'm using, my front half length is 18 inches, while my back half length is 16 inches. That means I'm using 2 inches dart here. So that 2 inches, I'm going to take 1 inch up and 1.5 inches down. Half inch up, 1.5 inches down. So and 1.5 inches here. So I'm going to connect them at this from my bust. This my dart point, and I'm measuring 1/2 inch in this way, 1/2 inch. So I'm going to connect the dart to this 1/2 inch. So I've done it. This 1/2 inch I took up, you can decide to take the 2 inches down. If you can take 1 inch up, but if you take 1 inch up, it will be very close to your armhole. So that's why I choose 1/2 inch. So now that we have done this, now the next thing that we're going to input now is our cup, our corset cup. So at this my bust point line, I'm coming in by 1/2 inch, and from this my 1/2 inch, I'm going up by 1.5 inch. That's where I want my sweetheart to stop, at this 1/2 inch now. So I'm going to connect it as a straight line this way. So the next thing I'm going to do now is, at this my bust point line, I'm going to take in my radius, bust radius. The bust radius is the distance from this my bust point to this my under bust, and I'm having 4 inches here as my radius. So I'm going to take down my radius at this my bust point line. And I'm going to add extra 3/4 inch. If you are that bust, you can add between 1 inch and 1.5 inches. So at this 3/4 inch I take now, I'm going to just connect it to my armhole this way, armhole line this way. Then from here, I'm going to make a curve to meet this my 3/4 inches now. So that's it. Then at this point, I will also come down here, from here, by like 1.5 inches or 1 inch. I can come down by 1 inch here. Make sure that it's within the 1/2 inch radius. So this is it. So I will also connect this to meet this point. So that's it. So now the next thing I'm going to do is that, okay, at this point now I have to choose how revealing I want my breast to be. If you want it quite revealing, you can take like 2 inches, but I don't want it revealing, so I'm going to maintain down my bust radius, which is 4 inches. Or you can even take your bust radius and minus 1 inch from it, but me, I'm going with my 4 inches. So this is my 4 inches now. I'm going to connect it as a straight line. So now I'm going to contour the two sides. I'm taking 1/2 inch on both sides. So I have to come up at this my bust point line now. I have to go up by 1/2 inch. So I'm connecting this to meet the 1/2 inch point with a slight curve this way. You can make it straight if you choose to, but I'm going with a curve. So now I'm going to connect this to this point and also connect this to this point. So you see, I've blended it to enter my armhole. So I'll also do same here. I'll connect it to this point. From this point, I'll connect to this point. So this is my cup now. So there's something I want to, if I cut it like this, one of these will be shorter. So what I'm going to do now, I want to measure the distance from this point to this point and also from this point to this point. So here I have 8 1/4 here. So while here 8 1/4 inches is what I have there. And here I have 8 inches. That means I have to add 1/4 of an inch in this one so that my cup will not short at the end. So from that 1/4 of an inch, I will blend it to enter here. So this is it now. I'm not cutting from here, I'm cutting from this 1/4 of an inch now, so that everything will align together by the time I will sew. So this is it, this way. So now we are going to eliminate our buzz dart. So we have to eliminate and transfer this buzz dart to our waist dart. So I'm cutting through here this way, very close to my buzz point line. Then I will open up one side of this. I will move this forward this way. I still need to cut more. Okay, and now move it this way. So I'm going to use my masking tape now to gum it, and also you can see that my cup have shifted. I have to also blend it. I have to blend my cup. I've joined it together. I've also blended my cup. So now I'm going to cut through this way to get my yoke. So this now is my yoke. This is now my yoke. So now we have to cut out our cup. This is the center front and this is one of our cup. Then we are cutting out this our contour dart here. So this is what we have now for our corset, and this is the yoke. So now I'm going to use this now to cut out our fabric. I'll cut out our fabrics and also our wording for this work. Now this is the back. I've already drafted it, but I will explain what I did. My back half length is 16 inches. You can see 16 inches. And my bust point for front is 11 inches, while for the back I use 10 inches. I minus 1 from my 11 inches. So my bust is 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. That is what I have here. Then this my waist. My waist is 39 divided by 4 is 9 3/4. So I have 10.5 here as my measurement here now. By the time I remove this my 3/4 inch here, I will be having 9 3/4 here. I've also removed my half an inch to avoid the sway at the back, so that our back will be relaxed. So I've removed the 1 inch here. So this corset now, I'm not going to put yoke at the back. I'm leaving the back this way. But if you are not putting yoke and you want your back, it is maybe a sleeveless or off-shoulder corset that you are doing, what you need to do here now is just at this center back here now, you just come down by 1 inch. Yeah. So this 1 inch you came down with now, you just connect it to this place, to this here bust point line here. So you can see I'm using the curved side of the ruler for it. You can decide to make it a straight line or curve, but curve will be better. So what you do is just to connect it this way. So when you are cutting now, you will now cut through this way and this way, and then you cut here that, then this place will be off. But for this tutorial, I'm using it the way it is, like this. So the neck width I'm using for this, I'm still using the 4 inches for the neck width for my back. But I'm going down by, I'm using 2 inches for my back. So I will just connect it. So I'll connect from this my neck width point now to get my slope. So this is my back pattern now. So I'm going to cut it out now. My back pattern, the zip, the dart, I'm sewing it as a straight dart. I'm not going to cut through the dart for my back pattern. I'm sewing it as a straight dart. I'm going to remove this. So this is my back pattern now.